Peter Krause plays a gentleman who could be any of us, who's down on his luck a little bit. And he sets himself into a story, and the story is what drives this movie. He puts himself in a position of taking action to protect himself and his family and his society the best way that he perceives, based on information and based on his psychological disposition at the time.
I think that psychologically he wants to feel like a hero, and the opportunity to engage in a heroic act is all but impossible for him, given the fact that he's an accountant. And I think he pretty fairly reflects much of America in that he wishes he had more time to work on his golf game, not terribly fond of his job, and he pretty much wants to be left alone. So he's meant to reflect the silent majority in the film. So I think that as he soaks up the media by watching the news, he becomes more and more paranoid. And once he sees his Middle Eastern neighbor behaving in ways that are somewhat odd, he starts to suspect, as he's being told to, that he may be a terrorist. And then one thing leads to another, and he gets in way too deep.
Hello?
I think people are ready to see a film like this. I think they want to see a film like this. I think that they want an opportunity to share a story together that they can later discuss and regard the world that they live in a different way because of it. I think they're owed this movie. I think that people are owed this movie.
I think the point is that, you know, if we allow ourselves to yield or to be a part of a culture of fear, it will drive us into a state of paranoia. And this is, I think, this movie is a bit of a warning against that kind of behavior, and we're all prone to it. And so I think it does have a very good and strong message. You have a Bunsen burner in there and a whole lab set up?
I mean, I wouldn't call it a lab, but there's...
Almond flavoring, like for cooking?
I mean, that's what it smelled like, but I don't know what it is.
I want to be clear about one thing. You were invited in, right? You were a guest in his house?
I knocked on the guy's door, it kind of opened. And based upon what I could see inside, I thought that I should call you and...
Did I ask you to act as an informant for the FBI, Mr. Allen?
You asked me to keep an eye on him.
Didn't ask you to break the law, did I? Can't just walk into someone's apartment.
I know that, but I felt like under the circumstances...
No, sir. No, sir. Under no circumstances. For you, under no circumstances.
Well, then why don't you do it? Get a search warrant. You can discover these items for yourself, because something is going on there.
Let me explain something, Mr. Allen. Unless there is an emergent circumstance suggesting imminent danger, we are obliged to follow certain guidelines and procedures pursuant to the United States Constitution. This is still a free society. I can't be this make-believe guy who busts down every door and shoots someone because they think he might be a bad guy, okay? Oh, well, he's a guy who's been on the force quite a while. And one of the things I love when talking to the FBI about a guy like this is that he gets to do what he wants. He gets to proceed in the way that he deems as best fitting the problem. They're left alone, which is something about the FBI culture that I kind of respect. So they're less likely to follow the rules and more likely to go on their instincts.
The wonderful thing about the movies is it is the last place where people come together. Granted, people still go to the theater in certain places, but on a broad level, it's the last place that strangers come together and share a story together. And it's wonderful to go and see a big splash movie and have a good time, but also great for people to come together and see a story that's for and about them and the world that they live in, that they can later discuss.
Anyway, it's none of our business.
Well, it just seems a little weird to me, that's all.
Well, if it's so weird, why don't you go introduce yourself to him then?
Come on.
Well, Why not? At least then you can stop calling him the Middle Eastern guy. Okay?
All right.
Yeah?
Yeah. Good. I don't have to bake the cake, do I?
It's a good idea. Have a beautiful day.
You too.
Vital services. Now, thousands of records can be stolen with the same level of risk involved in a home invasion.